The sound of the phone ringing had never felt so ominous. Ariana had learned to ignore calls from unknown numbers, but this one seemed different. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw Ryan's name flash on the screen. She picked up, expecting to hear his usual warm voice, his jokes, the way he always knew how to make her laugh no matter how bad her day had been. But the voice on the other end wasn't Ryan's. It was a nurse, trembling slightly, and her words hit Ariana like a hammer. "I'm so sorry, MS. Hartman, there's been an accident. Ryan, he didn't make it. Time stopped." The world blurred around her. Ariana dropped the phone, falling to the floor, trembling uncontrollably. She felt the air leave her lungs, her chest tightening as if grief itself were trying to crush her. Ryan, her husband, her best friend, her everything was gone. The days that followed were a nightmare. Morning blurred into survival. Ariana found herself wandering their empty apartment, touching the spaces Ryan used to occupy, listening for sounds that would never come. And then, amid her sorrow, came another shock. She was pregnant. The realization was bittersweet, a tiny heartbeat inside her, a fragile reminder of love and life, but instead of joy, fear gnawed at her. She was alone. It wasn't long before the person she should have been able to rely on the most revealed the cruelest betrayal. Beatrice, Ryan's mother, appeared at the door one cold morning, her expression sharp, her words colder than the winter wind. "You need to get rid of it," Beatrice said flatly, eyes narrowing. "You can't keep this knot after Ryan is gone. You don't belong in this family, Ariana. This child, it will ruin everything." Ariana froze, her hands clutching her stomach. What do you mean? He's my child, Ryan's child. This is our baby," she whispered, her voice cracking. Beatrice's lips curled in a cruel smile. "No, this isn't your child. It's a mistake. Ryan is gone. You have nothing, and you never had my approval. You have no right to drag his name through the mud with this." The words cut deeper than any blade could. Ariana felt her knees weaken, and for the first time since Ryan's death, she questioned everything. How could someone she had called family, someone who had smiled at her at holidays and shared her joys, be capable of such hatred? She tried to reason, to plead, but Beatrice was relentless. "You have until tomorrow. Decide. Do what's best for everyone, Ariana. That baby will destroy the family if you keep it." Ariana's world collapsed. That night, she packed a small bag of essentials, tears streaming down her face. She had nowhere to go. Her apartment, though technically hers, no longer felt safe. The people who should have supported her had turned their backs. She walked the streets, the bitter wind biting at her cheeks, carrying only the fragile life growing inside her. Exhausted and on the verge of despair, she stumbled upon a small clinic, still open late into the evening. Inside, a kindly doctor, Dr. Elias, noticed her disheveled appearance and the fear in her eyes. "Are you okay, miss?" he asked gently, concern lining his face. Ariana couldn't speak. She shook, overwhelmed by grief, exhaustion, and fear. Dr. Elias, sensing the urgency, offered her a warm blanket and a seat. Slowly, between sobs, she told him everything: the accident, Ryan's death, her pregnancy, and her mother-in-law's cruel ultimatum. Dr. Elias listened without judgment, his calm presence a balm to her frayed nerves. "You're not alone," he said quietly. "You have options. You can keep your baby and I'll help you. No one can force you to do anything you don't want to do. Come back tomorrow. I'll make sure you're safe and we'll figure this out together." For the first time in days, Ariana felt a tiny spark of hope. Amid the grief and betrayal, someone believed in her. Someone saw her not as a burden or a mistake, but as a mother, as a woman with the right to protect her child. She clung to that spark as she wandered home under the streetlights, shivering in the cold but feeling, for the first time, that maybe she could survive this, and one day rise above it. But as the shadows of the night stretched long, Ariana swore to herself that this betrayal would not go unanswered. The woman who had thrown her out, who had tried to destroy her, would see one day just how wrong she had been. The days that followed Ryan's funeral were the hardest Ariana had ever faced. The world moved on without him, as if grief could be measured in business hours and social appointments. She wandered through her days in a daze, haunted by memories, his laugh echoing through the apartment, the smell of his cologne lingering on the sheets, the way he always kissed her forehead before leaving for work. Every corner reminded her of what she had lost, but in the midst of sorrow, a small, steady presence gave her something she hadn't felt in weeks: hope. Dr. Elias kept his promise. Each morning, he would meet her at the clinic, help her with prenatal care, and offer guidance beyond medicine. He taught her to care for herself, to nourish her body and her mind, and even encouraged her to start thinking about life after Ryan. "You're stronger than you think," he said one afternoon, adjusting the blanket around her shoulders. "Your baby feels your strength. It will grow from it. You can survive this, Ariana. More than survive, you can thrive." Ariana clung to his words, repeating them silently each night as she lay awake, listening to the tiny, steady heartbeat of her unborn child. Each beat was a reminder she wasn't alone. She had someone who believed in her, and more importantly, she had a life inside her that depended on her courage. As her belly grew, so did her resolve. She began exploring ways to rebuild her independence. Small steps at first: online freelance work, taking courses in business management, even learning to budget carefully. She found a small apartment near the clinic, modest but safe, and furnished it with care. Every corner of her new space became a symbol of survival, a silent rebellion against Beatrice's cruel words. It was during one of these quiet evenings that Ariana stumbled upon something that made her blood run cold. While talking to a former colleague of Ryan's, she learned details about Beatrice's manipulation that she hadn't known before. Beatrice had been critical of their marriage from the start, attempting to create rifts, and had even spread rumors that Ryan's career struggles were somehow Ariana's fault. Ariana's chest tightened as the pieces fell into place. Ryan had loved her fiercely, but his mother had poisoned the air around them, always questioning, always criticizing, always pulling strings. And now, even in his death, Beatrice wanted to destroy what remained of their love, her unborn child. Anger and determination surged through Ariana in a way she hadn't felt since Ryan's passing. She realized she didn't just want to survive, she wanted to thrive. She wanted to show Beatrice that cruelty and betrayal could not define her. The thought of revenge wasn't about malice. It was about justice, about reclaiming her dignity, and proving that her life would not be dictated by someone else's hatred. Her days became structured around growth. She spent mornings attending prenatal checkups, afternoons learning about business and finance, and evenings working on her online boutique, selling handmade jewelry and crafts she had learned from her grandmother. Each sale was a small victory, each positive review a reminder that she was building something her mother-in-law could never take from her. The pregnancy, once a source of fear, became a beacon of purpose. She read books on parenting, researched nutrition, and even started a small journal for her child, writing letters that would one day reveal the love and resilience that had brought them into the world. Every entry strengthened her resolve. She would not be a victim. She would be a mother, a woman, and eventually a force that even Beatrice could not ignore. One chilly evening, Ariana stood by the window of her small apartment, looking out at the city lights twinkling like distant stars. Her hand rested on her belly, feeling the gentle movements of her unborn child. She whispered softly, "We're going to be okay. We'll build a life full of love, and we won't let anyone take that from us. Not her, not anyone." That night, for the first time since Ryan's death, Ariana slept with a sense of purpose, not fear. She had been broken, abandoned, and betrayed, but she was rising from the ashes. And one day, she promised herself, Beatrice would see the life she had tried to destroy flourish in ways she could never imagine. The day her son was born, Ariana felt a surge of emotions she had never thought possible: relief, joy, and a quiet, burning determination. Holding his tiny, fragile body in her arms, she marveled at the perfection of him. His tiny fingers, the soft tufts of hair, the way he instinctively nuzzled her chest for warmth. In that moment, she realized that no matter how cruel the world, or her mother-in-law had been, she had created something beautiful, something untouchable. She named him Evan, after Ryan's grandfather, a man who had loved her and supported her even when the rest of the family had turned away. Evan's first cry felt like a triumph, a declaration that she had survived, and that Beatrice's threats had not won. As she settled into her new role as a mother, Ariana began the subtle work of reclaiming her life and preparing the sweetest form of revenge. She didn't want to lash out, didn't want to stoop to Beatrice's level of cruelty. No, her revenge would be quiet, elegant, and impossible to ignore. Ariana focused on building her online business into a reputable brand, a boutique that reflected her creativity and resilience. Every sale was a testament to her independence. Every satisfied customer, a small victory against the woman who had tried to humiliate her. Slowly, she began attending social events, not as Ryan's widow, but as herself, confident, composed, radiant, and unexpectedly magnetic. It wasn't long before whispers started circulating. People were talking about the young widow who had bounced back with a thriving business, a healthy baby, and a calm, self-assured demeanor that made her seem untouchable. Ariana heard the rumors with a small, secretive smile. Beatrice, of course, was furious. Ariana knew this because she would occasionally receive veiled comments at family gatherings or through mutual acquaintances. Each attempt at humiliation was clumsy and transparent, and Ariana allowed herself a quiet satisfaction every time Beatrice's schemes backfired. One evening, Beatrice attempted a direct confrontation. She arrived at Ariana's boutique, her expression a mix of haughty disapproval and barely concealed envy. "You look well," Beatrice said, her tone tight. "I see you've managed to survive." Ariana smiled softly, her fingers brushing Evan's hair. "Not just survive," she replied gently, "but thrive, and I'm grateful that we're doing it on our own terms." Beatrice's jaw tightened. She opened her mouth, but Ariana's calm, confident gaze stopped her. There was no fear in Ariana's eyes, only serenity and strength, and that silence was more powerful than any insult. Ariana's revenge was not in confrontation. It was in living well. She hosted charity events through her boutique, gaining influence and admiration in the community. She published tutorials and shared tips online, slowly creating a network of loyal followers who respected her expertise and integrity. With each passing month, her life became a living testament to the power of resilience and grace. Even more satisfying was the subtle social retribution. Beatrice, once the center of attention in her circle, found herself overshadowed at gatherings. Invitations she had always taken for granted became fewer. Remarks that once commanded respect now fell flat. Ariana never gloated, never insulted her mother-in-law, but the effect was unmistakable. People noticed the light in Ariana's eyes, the gentle authority she carried, and Beatrice was quietly eclipsed. Late one night, Ariana sat in her apartment, Evan sleeping peacefully beside her. She traced his tiny hand with her finger and whispered, "One day, you'll understand what we went through, little one, and you'll know that your mama never let anyone steal our happiness, not even her." Ariana leaned back, a sense of satisfaction washing over her. Sweet revenge, she realized, wasn't in vengeance or anger. It was in living fully, beautifully, and unshakably. And as she watched her son's gentle breathing, she knew she had already won. Months had passed since Evan's birth, and Ariana had grown into her role as both mother and woman of strength. The small apartment she once saw as a temporary refuge had become a home filled with warmth, laughter, and love. She had established her boutique as a respected business, her name quietly gaining recognition for its creativity and integrity. Life was no longer defined by loss and betrayal. It was defined by the love she cultivated and the life she nurtured. Yet the shadow of Beatrice's cruelty still lingered. Ariana encountered her from time to time, at social gatherings or through mutual acquaintances. Each meeting was a quiet test of her composure. Beatrice, now stripped of the social dominance she once wielded, looked smaller in her presence, not physically, but in aura. Her sharp words no longer stung, and her attempts to belittle Ariana were met with calm, poised confidence. "You've done well for yourself," Beatrice said one afternoon, her tone reluctant and forced as they met at a charity event Ariana had organized. "I never expected this," Ariana smiled warmly, rocking Evan in her arms. "Thank you," she said softly. "It wasn't about what anyone expected, it was about making the right choices for us." Beatrice's lips pressed into a thin line. She had lost her power to hurt Ariana, not because Ariana had struck back, but because she had grown too strong, too serene to be shaken. Ariana's revenge, as she had always intended, was not in humiliation or confrontation, but in flourishing despite betrayal. With each passing day, Ariana's confidence expanded beyond her boutique. She began mentoring young women who had faced loss or adversity, sharing her story and offering guidance on resilience and independence. Her journey of grief had transformed into a mission of empowerment, and with Evan by her side, she felt more complete than ever. Ariana also allowed herself moments of reflection, revisiting memories of Ryan not with sorrow but with gratitude. She would speak to Evan about his father, telling stories of his kindness, his laughter, and the love he had left behind. These stories were threads connecting the past to the present, ensuring that Ryan's spirit remained part of their lives without casting shadows over their happiness. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose, Ariana stood on the balcony of her apartment, Evan asleep in his crib behind her. She breathed in the cool evening air and felt a quiet sense of triumph. She had been thrown out, humiliated, and betrayed, but she had endured, grown, and emerged victorious in the most profound way, by building a life filled with love, purpose, and dignity. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "We did it, my love. We made it, and no one can take this from us." Beatrice, who had once held sway over Ariana's life, now existed on the periphery, powerless to intervene. The very child she had demanded Ariana abort was thriving, a living reminder of Ariana's strength. And the woman she had tried to destroy was radiant, respected, and unshakable. Ariana had learned that true revenge was not found in anger or spite. It was found in living well, loving fiercely, and refusing to be broken. She had turned pain into purpose, betrayal into strength, and despair into triumph. Her heart, once shattered, now held resilience, hope, and unwavering love. As night fell, Ariana sat beside Evan, gently stroking his hair. She looked at him, imagining the future they would build together, a future of laughter, dreams, and freedom from fear. She smiled, tears glistening in her eyes, not of sorrow, but of peace. Her life was no longer dictated by someone else's cruelty. She had reclaimed it, molded it, and transformed it into something extraordinary. And in that victory, Ariana found the ultimate healing. She had turned her heartbreak into a legacy of love, and her revenge into a life so full and beautiful that no betrayal could ever diminish it. And in the quiet glow of the night, mother and child rested, safe, unbroken, and unstoppable, proof that the strongest hearts rise from the deepest wounds.